Matthias, tell us about that. First of all, we're delighted to have you here, you and Mark, but you people are based in, shall I say Australia, or is it Australia and Nigeria? Because I imagine this could be a global thing.
Yeah, Australia, but we're currently in Nigeria, so visiting and working from Nigeria at the moment.
Are you on a, I take it you're on a familiarization visit to Nigeria, possible recruitment drive such as we see from time to time from other organizations from different countries. Is this that kind of a thing, or is it different?
It's a little bit different. We're here to advocate for Nigerians to participate in transnational education. Nigeria has always been on the outgoing side of sending students overseas in large numbers, but we're here to advocate so that the government can consider the option of transnational education in enhancing our education system, basically.
Yeah, okay then. And Mark, how does your organization, Inventorium, key into that? Because I imagine you are working in partnership with Ehizua, if I'm correct.
I am. It's a good question. The idea of transnational education, as Matthias alluded to, is not just students going from one country to another, and then of course, you know, they contribute to the incoming country's economy and tuition fees, in labour, in accommodation, in tourism. What we're doing with the Ehizua hub with Inventorium is looking at students, particularly in the space of engineering or information technology, to be able to start while they're still in country with an online program delivered out of Australia in a Certificate 3 in new business or entrepreneurship. And those students that have got a qualification or a background in either engineering or ICT will look at having their skills assessed, and so they're able to go to Australia as a qualified person and be able to look at having an opportunity to have a paid internship for either 12 months or 2 years, and so to earn money while they're still training, but also actually getting work experience through an occupational training visa whilst in Australia. So the idea is contributing to, you know, the Australian economy, but of course being able to potentially stay, but then even more rewarding for Nigeria in particular is to come back with that Australian or global experience and then contribute to a startup or a tech firm or the more globalized economy that Nigeria is starting to look at. So it's a slightly different model to what you would normally see, rather than one country perhaps benefiting more from students going and perhaps migrating. What we're looking to do is leverage the incredible talent that you have here, give a work experience in a foreign country, and for most of those students, they'll then end up coming back and contributing with what they've learnt in Australia to the Nigerian economy as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mark. Coming to you, Matthias, okay, explain, if you will, how this works. Because I described your organization as an educational and creative technology hub. Now, I would imagine that the closest thing that most interested Nigerians would sort of know in relation to that kind of a thing is the open university system, for example, where it's not actually a physical campus like that, and a lot of people who can't, you know, actually be present physically can still benefit from higher education via the open university system. Now, in what way is this different from that? And is this also something, because Mark was just saying that actually you can actually kill two educational and aspirational goals with one stone, so to speak. So how is it different from that, from a point of view of trying to understand this, you know, this new idea, at least new to some people, and especially its potential to increase the GDP?
So basically, this is a model of transnational education. There are various models to transnational education. With the current option a usual hub is providing in Nigeria, it's a learning center where students can have access to internet and computers while they study from the hub, connecting to lecturers overseas in Australia. So they connect via our hub, and we do have our hub currently in Ibejuleki, and also we have one in Benin City. So students go into those hubs and connect on their training with lecturers in Australia. So that's a perfect example of a transnational education program. And we've done this past with a different university in Australia, Torrens University, Australia, where we were able to offer close to 800 students the opportunities to start their studies online in Nigeria. And as I speak to you, about 300 or 400 students right now are in Australia as a result of commencing their studies online at a Yizwa hub in Ibejuleki. So the students study for about 6 months to a year online and receiving support from the hub while they eventually make their travel plans and continue their studies and work experience in Australia. So it's one of the examples of the model of transnational education, which we are going to be discussing further on how transnational education can assist Nigeria in the area of enhancing our education and our GDP in general. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you also did say in the, was it Mark who said it, that it can provide support. Now, education, you know, there are very few free lunches anywhere, if any, anywhere. How the word affordable came into a description that I gave, especially when it relates to, I think, in inventorium. How accessible from a point of view of affordability do you think, well, not do you think, do you know that this is? Because people are going to be listening to this, and they're going to be feeling that it's not all online. It's not all online. There's a part of it that is online. And you've mentioned Ibejuleki as one of the areas. So I just wanted you to sort of speak to that. It's an exciting project, but is it also accessible from the point of view of affordability to most Nigerians?
Yes, it's accessible and it's quite affordable at the same time. As Mark has mentioned earlier on, it's an online program, but where students do require physical support, they can always come to the hub in Ibejuleki or our hub in Benin City. They can easily access support, and the reason why you study online and package with an onshore transfer later on, it makes it more affordable because the cost of studying online is way lower comparing going overseas to study. So with this current program with Inventorium and a Yizwa hub, we are targeting ICT and engineering professionals in Nigeria that are qualified already with bachelor's degree in engineering or bachelor's degree in ICT field, and we'll be able to support with their skill assessment to Australia while they complete an online program for 6 months in new business and entrepreneurship. So we assist them to go to Australia on a training visa 7407, which enables them to work paid employment for 2 years. So Inventorium and its partners in Australia provide a sponsorship for such programs. And the Nigerian government can also key into this. State government can also key in if they want to enhance job opportunities for their graduates. State government can come in as sponsors. There are no financial obligations for that. It's just for the right partnership between the government and Inventorium, and they can facilitate large numbers of Nigerian ICT and engineering professionals to live and work in Australia after completing the online module in Nigeria. So the online package on a different model now, apart from the Inventorium model, on a different model we've worked on before. The benefit students get can be as high as 30% scholarship overall than studying abroad. So I'll give you a good example. Going to the UK to do a 3 years degree, you end up paying roughly about 60,000 US dollars over 3 years. But if it's a package program where you have to do like a year in Nigeria, it can be through a study center or it can be through a local university. in Nigeria before continuing the remaining 2 years in the UK, you end up saving up to 30% of that amount. So instead of spending about 60,000 US dollars, a student typically will be spending about $45,000 or $40,000 because they're going to study a component in Nigeria before commencing the remaining components overseas. These are some of the benefits we're going to be discussing further as we progress with our conversation today.